Okay, so today we're going to be lubricating the throttle on a Hori flight stick. This is the PS3 version that I used with Ace Combat Infinity. I'm now using it on Ace Combat 7 on the Xbox One. I have an adapter. And yeah, so I noticed that I'd been loosening the tension spring right here, and didn't seem to be getting any looser. I mean, I don't like it like super floppy, but I mean, this is, look, I'm trying to move it with my pinky and it's just sliding the controller. So I think it might be a little tighter than it should be, considering that the tension spring is at its loosest setting. And it takes a fair amount of effort to move it, which can be kind of a pain with post-stall maneuvers. So we're going to open her up and see what we find inside. I think I've taken this controller apart before. I know I took this part apart before because I replaced the yaw spring. I actually have another video about that from years ago. So I believe we're going to have to take these rubber feet off here. There we go. So you can just take a thin screwdriver, poke it under the lip there, and lift it up. And we'll figure out how to stick them back on later. Be careful when you're prying that your other hand isn't too close, because if it slips off, you don't want to stab yourself with a screwdriver. That would be unfavorable. Alright, so what do we got in here? Skinny Phillips head screws. So let's see. And they're pretty tight, so make sure you have a firm grip on the back of the screwdriver so you don't risk stripping it when you first get it to start turning. Alright, so we got all the screws out. Had to remove all 8 screws, so the 4 corners, and then these right here. Now, it turned out this actually really did need to be greased, because apparently when I was bringing it in here, the tension screw fell out. So that's how much I had loosened it, and how little difference it, how little difference it was making. So if you look right here, you can see the tension mechanism, how it works. So it's screwed down right here, but on this side, that's where the tension screws go, or the screw goes, and you can see where I push down on it, right there, how it clamps down on this long rod here. Hopefully you can see that. But yeah, so the long screw goes in there, and as you tighten it, it tightens down on this pincher here. But also, there are these that it rotates on, and if you look closely, I don't know if you can see it, but you can, on my end, you can see where the old grease was, where it's basically worn completely away. So it's basically all friction. You can see the grease on the spindly thing there, and then some of the old grease under the pinchy caliper thing. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this screw out here and re-grease underneath here, as well as these areas. There's going to be some underneath of this as well, but I'm not going to take the whole thing apart to do that. But all the other parts, are going to get a nice coat of white lithium grease. Now, if you've ever taken apart electronic stuff and seen white goopy stuff inside, that's a good thing. Obviously, don't wipe that stuff away. And it's okay to have extra. And another benefit, at least my understanding, is that it reduces heat, so which is one of the reasons why it's the perfect lubricant for plastic, where there's going to be a lot of friction. So that's what we're going to do next. See if I can move that in a little bit there. Okay, so I'm going to take this screw out here. Of course, it's a mofo like all the other ones. And I wanted to mention, make sure that you got a good grip on your screwdriver. I mentioned before to push from behind. But also, if your hand gets tired or your fingers get tired, take a break. Don't risk stripping the screws, because it's not easy. Now I can see there's a spring in the tension doohickey, so I'm going to hold that down with my thumb, show you what I'm talking about. See that there? So the spring goes in this part and that part, and you can see the line of the grease there. Alright. Oh, and notice the base has metal plates in it for weight, which is nice. And also, if you're ever thinking about mounting the thing permanently using the suction cup keyhole slot things, at least this version of it, there's screws, so you can actually take the little caps off. So if you had something that was a kind of a T shape, you could conceivably make a mounting where you could kind of put it in there and turn it, and then tighten it down from the other side, and maybe have it sitting on a rubber pad with holes cut through the pad, so that when you tighten it down, you're not, tightening it directly into a hard surface. So that's the short version of how I'd mount it permanently if I was going to do that. So anyway, here's our grease. I'm going to try to do this so you can see. Alrighty. Probably a little bit heavy, but if it squirts out the sides, that's fine. And the other part we're going to do is our tightening mechanism here. So I got a pretty good glob on there too. And because this part I'm not taking out, I'm going to put a little extra right here, and then swivel that inward, and then put a little extra right here and swivel that inward. And then really, I think that's pretty much it. I believe I can start putting it back together. So I got my spring. Well, that's nice. You can just set it right in there. It goes nicely. And then this thing has got actually rubber inside of it, so that's nice. So the pinchy part isn't hard at all. So it looks a little messy. That's okay. Something else I'm going to do, I meant to mention this earlier, I'm going to put a little bit of lithium grease on the end of my screw, because those things are pretty tough. And I know this isn't going to be the last time I ever take it apart, so I would rather it be easier the next time. So now hopefully my screw will stick to it, and it does. And still doesn't help, but I thought I'd give it a try. One more time. Okay, here we go. Alright, so that bad boy is in there. Then we'll take our tension screw, which is longer, alright, so our tension screw is in there. And then that way when we put it back together, we'll be able to see that through the hole here. And then I'm going to put the rest of the screws back in, and then that's pretty much it. So, hope that was helpful. Probably do another one eventually where I am lubricating the flight stick as well, but that's a whole other job that I haven't done before. So, thanks for watching. Check this out. So that tension screw should definitely make a difference now, and it definitely needed to be lubricated.